Hello and welcome back to another episode of White Album 2. We are currently playing through Madison's route of the closing chapter. Haruki finally convinced Madison to come home from work and give him some time, even though he should be studying for his finals.
鍋の準備しときましたけど、たら大丈夫ですよね。
家事は極力控えて勉強しろって言ったのに。この専業主婦め。
鍋なんて簡単じゃないですか。材料適当に切って煮るだけなんだから。
そうなの？
その程度理解できるくらいには、マリさんも家事をやった方が。
Uh-oh, don't make her do housework. She's a career woman.
電気鍋があったらテーブルで煮ながら食べられたんですけど、そういうのを探したけどなかったから。
Very common in Japan to have the electric cookers.
まあ、できてからそっちに持ってきます。あ、春菊食えます？入れちゃいますよ。白滝とかも。
It looks like Mari-san has given up on giving me any trouble. She's probably very excited. How long has it been since she's had a home-cooked meal? Whether she's changing or if she's already fallen asleep, I can't hear her behind me anymore. I turn on the gas again, bringing the dashi stock that had been simmering up until just a short moment ago back to a boil. Inside the boiling pot, I put the cod, shiitake mushrooms, tofu, napa cabbage, one ingredient after the other. The vegetables in the strainer are dropped into the pot one by one as the steam escaping from the rice cooker grows stronger. A noise suddenly interrupts the calm atmosphere and shatters the perfect balance of this situation. Okay, that sound effect doesn't really match the picture, although it is a very beautiful picture.
どうしたんですか？
なんでもない。ただこうしたかっただけだ。
Oh, she's so cute.
こうしたかったんだけと言われても。
Mari-san's body firmly presses against my back. She buries her face in the back of my neck, taking in my scent by inhaling deeply and letting out wild breaths after. Both of her hands suddenly encircle me from behind, the right pawing at the buttons of my shirt, while the left is on the zipper of my pants. Naughty, naughty.
Mari-san?
This is almost like that time Mari-san told me she would leave, so I forced my feelings upon her. Alright, and we'll come back to you in just a short while. Welcome back. You can probably take a few guesses at what happened. It was just really intense. And Mari-san came very close to saying I love you a bunch of times. She wants to be Haruki's own. Haruki's the only one that makes her feel like this. It was very like a possessive and wanting to be possessed type of thing. Oh no.
よいしょっと。なんておばさん臭いんだ私。しかもこれ北原の携帯じゃないか。何やってんだもう。バカ、何考えてるんだ。人のメールを盗み見るなんて人倫にも取る行為じゃないか。でも私マスコミだしな。
すいません。お先に。
Zoinks.
どうした？
鍋。
ああ、そういえばすっかり忘れてたな。
As I look toward the stove, I can see the pot that's become completely cold, as well as the remnants of the vegetables within the colander that we've neglected. I'm glad I put the raw ingredients in the fridge beforehand.
お腹空いてません。
空いてるけど、こうしてることに取って代わるほど強い空腹感があるわけじゃないから。
マリさん。
And so, as she always does after it, Madison buries her face into my chest. Just by looking at that fulfilled expression, oddly enough, I feel my own sense of hunger going away. I wonder why, really.
まあ、いいじゃない。明日食べよう。朝にでも。
朝から鍋ですか？
Sounds delicious.
別に夜でもいいけど、ゆっくりしていけるんだろ？
ええ。試験勉強をしなくちゃいけませんけど。
Judging from her response just now, it seems like she's forgotten what she herself said when we promised to meet up.
まあ、今までの蓄積があるから、多分ユウはいけると思ってますが。
I mean, you could just study during the day at her house. You probably wouldn't get any studying done, but...
そうか。頑張れ。
はい。何しろ失敗したらしばらく会いませんから。
しばらく会えない。
モリさん。
I wanted to see her flustered for the first time in a while, so I thought I'd tease her a little bit, but Mari-san gave a bit of an unexpected response instead. She's not getting angry or pretending to be tough, but she looks like she's lonely at how my words reflect reality.
なあ、北原。
何ですか？
あのさ、私ってさ、例えば東間上さんの代わりとかじゃないよな。いや、別にいいんだけどな。それでも。
Aw, you should never feel that way. That's why that conversation was really dangerous. You don't compare a girl to another girl you're in love with or struggled with or even an ex. And as a result of these words, the following conversation somehow ends up taking a strangely negative turn. Did something happen? As I thought, something's a little off about Mari-san today. How should I put it? Even if I've been acting rather ambiguously around her all this time, I wouldn't let even the slightest changes that she exhibits go unnoticed.
前にも言ったけど、似てるのは確かです。特に言葉遣いとか雰囲気とか。
やっぱり私は単なる代用品なんだな。お前最低だよ。
What a terrible way to start that.
No.
Even though she's the one who said it didn't matter. Even though she's completely off the mark. Well, then tell her she's off the mark. Don't be like, oh yeah, well, this is similar and that's similar. No, you just be like, no, babe, no, don't think like that.
なんとか言ったらどうなんだよ。
Exactly. Even though Mari-san isn't anywhere close to guessing the right answer because I'm not being honest with her. I wonder if it's some kind of karma that's causing her to say such piercing words.
お前がそんな風に思ってるならさ、別に気を使って愛してるとか言わなくていいからな。
The fact that I was insolent enough to purposely try to make this person sulk up until now makes me mad at myself.
そういう割り切った付き合いだって。私は別に。
違います。
I'm disappointed that I can't even properly draw the line between joking and being serious. I hate myself for not managing to provide any peace of mind to the person I love.
マリさんとトーマは違います。 全然違うんです。
Good. That's what you should have said the first time.
けれど今お前
トーマはここにいないけど、マリさんはここにいます。
Well, that's not exactly reassuring. That's just saying, well, you are convenient and she's not, so now I'm with you. Come on, do better. In spite of how I can't even settle on one person and end up worrying everyone because of it.
だから全然違うんです。代わりじゃないんです。マリさんが必要なんです。
そっか。
I need you and I love you are two very, very different things. In spite of my resentment, my contrition, and my anger, I just can't stop refining the worst parts of myself now.
マリさん、
もう一度しようか。北原。
Firmly and with all my strength. I'm simply loving the person right before me right now, casting aside any other aspect of reality. And I'm leading myself in a direction that will put me at the slightest sense of ease, at least up until my day of judgment arrives. That's the deplorable path I'm treading right now.
やっと春休みだな。
そうだな。
Now that the long period of final exams is over, the students immediately spring into high spirits in welcoming of the still chilly mid-February. All of Hojo University's courses for this year will be finished by the end of the week, and the entrance exams for the new students will start next week.
なあ、ハルキ。休み入ったらスキー行かね。スノボでもいいけどさ。
なんだよ急に。この前合コンするって言ってた看護師の子たちと約束でもしたのか。
いやな、ナースの子はやべえぞ。忙しいわ、時間が不規則だわでストレスが溜まってるから性欲がとんでもないことに。
Wow, Takeya.
やってきたような事実を言うやつだな。
とまあ、そういうめくるめく体験はともかく。お前、そういう誘いだったら乗るか？
いや、俺は。
っていうに決まってるから、そんなイベントじゃねえよ。4人でレンタカーでも借りてさ。
4人？
わざとしらばっくれてるだろ。俺とお前とイオと。
日本語おかしいぞ。しらばっくれてる時はわざとに決まってる。
せつなちゃんとさ。
Even though I tried so hard to evade this subject, this guy just won't take the hint.
ま、趣味がおばさん臭い美少女に合わせて温泉でのんびりするってのでもいいけどさ。
いや、それは。
She's likely not going to agree with this, nor am I going to participate either. It's a sacred place for us, after all.
イオから聞いてんぞ。
何を？
お前ら、今年に入ってからまだ一度も顔を合わせてないんだってな。
And whose fault is that? Takeya's the only one who knows. He alone knows about how I betrayed Setsuna by repeatedly being physically intimate with another woman. Excuse me, not only physically intimate, she loves you. However, I do not think it's betraying Setsuna because they're not together. They're not together.
まだ話してないんだろ、あのこと。
And Takeya is the only one who knows about this other bit. He knows how helpless I am from the way I've told him over and over that I would talk to Setsuna while never following through on my promise.
別に責めてるわけじゃないぞ。俺は冷却期間を置いた方がいいって言った方だからな。むしろ、ようやく気が熟してきたと思ってる。
タケヤ。
時間をかけて話せよ。それこそ、 一晩中も二晩中も自分が抱えてることや相手に求めてること全部。
お前それで。
俺はまだ諦めてないんだからな。俺たち4人が何の憂いもなくバカ騒ぎしてただ楽しいだけの時間を過ごす日をさ。
Those are days that have not become a reality even once up until now. Days that only existed in our imagination. It was a heartwarming illusion that was worth fighting for once, and it was barely within our reach back when there were still the 5 of us. But all of it disappeared within the blink of an eye. But with the way I am now...
申し出はありがたいけど、今はまだ参加できるかどうかわからないよ。
You shouldn't have to. You don't have to stay with the same person forever.
春樹、お前。
違うんだよ、竹谷。そうじゃないんだ。
じゃあなんだって言うんだよ。せっかく俺が
自分で解決すべき問題だから。それに解決のめどが立ったから。
それって。
It's because Setsuna has finally brought herself to face me. I'm finally done with my exams. I've just finished my last subject. Congratulations on finishing the entire exam period. It seems I ran out of steam near the end of it all, though, so I might have flunked 2 or 3 subjects in the process. I know it's a really boorish question, but how did you do in the exams? I can't see you either failing or just barely passing any subject, Haruki-kun. Anyway, this marks the end of the 3rd year, and once spring begins, it'll finally be our last year in university, huh? I know we'll be busy with many things this year, whether it be finding a job or taking a master's degree, but let's work hard together, okay? Is it because of the fact that we've been exchanging texts daily during our exam period that Setsuna's tone has returned to being significantly more casual? We're now having a conversation with a nice mood, as if the events of that night had never happened to begin with. So long as we're having it through texts, that is. Well, I'll cut to the chase. I'm sorry for not being able to make time for us for so long. Since the exams are over, and it's also spring break, I have much more time on my hands. I can meet up with you now, Haruki-kun. We can finally talk now. I'll tell you the date and time by tonight. I still have to sort my schedule out a bit. Well then, thanks again. Please rest well today. Hope they finally figure things out.
そうか、ようやく試験終わったか。お疲れ様。
ありがとうございます。マリさんの方はいつまで？
全部の仕事が終わるまでには2月いっぱいかかるかな。
ずいぶん長いですね。一体何の取材です？
まあそれは取材というかその準備段階というか。
そちらもいろいろとお疲れ様です。
Nowadays, Mari-san calls me every day during her lunch break while she's at work on site. She'll be continuing her business trip to America in December after that, and I believe she's going to be staying there for about a month this time. During the weekend I spent with her, we packed things for her trip together, and she rushed off in a hurry on the day my exams started. Perhaps the momentary desire she had for me back then stemmed from the feelings of loneliness that came with the thought that we would be unable to see each other for such a long time.
そっちは3月いっぱいまで春休みか。ほんと学生は気楽でいいよな。
だから就職活動とバイトに励むつもりなんですけど、海洋社の方の仕事が。
絶対に私以外からの指示は受けるんじゃないぞ。放っておくとお前はすぐに自滅するまで働くからな。
だったら早く帰ってきてくださいよ、マリさん。でないと俺家賃も払えなくなります。
Don't say that, Haruki. You get paid by the hour.
私に早く会いたいのか。
当たり前です。
そっか。そうなんだ。
Aww. Madison responded as if she had heard nothing about me having to worry about my rent, her voice sweetly ringing in my ears before.
私も早くお前に会いたいよ。
けどマリさん。
あのさ、北原。
はい。
こっちは日本より寒いぞ。昨日なんかマイナス10度くらいまで下がった。
Dang.
そうなんですか。
Ever since we started contacting each other via international phone calls, Madison always ends up at a loss for words at least once during our conversations. And it always happens when we're trying to reaffirm our feelings for each other.
それじゃあそっちの道路事情とか大変そうですね。マリさんは職場へは。
いや、そんな話はどうでもよくてだな。
はい。
But it's not like she's pausing because she feels embarrassed about saying such words or anything.
あのさ、北原、お前、私のこと愛してくれてるか？
Oh man, the fact that someone has to ask that question is so sad. It just means they don't feel loved, and Haruki isn't making her feel loved enough. You know she needs those reaffirmations. She's very insecure.
ちょっとそんなことを公衆の面前で。
Also, that's a very, very straightforward and direct way of saying love, so it's very embarrassing to say around other people, something like that. Not the same as the English word for love. What do you know? And now she says lines like these all of a sudden.
大丈夫だよ。こっちは日本語わかる人間なんていないから。
That's so funny.
そういう問題じゃなくてですね。
どうなんだよ。
Ever since we started contacting each other via international phone calls, Marisa would always ask me to give her direct answers.
好きですよ、マリさんのこと。
And that is more, I don't want to say like less sincere, but it's a very much less intense word to use for love than the one before. But that's probably because I've never really managed to answer her desire to hear those words from me. After all, we're in a state where we still haven't come to the conclusion we want. And when we're just one step away from it, too.
じゃあ、そろそろ昼休み終わるから。
はい。
That's why Mari-san is acting the same way today as she always does, bidding me farewell with a tone that's slightly cheerful, yet a bit lonely at the same time.
それじゃあ元気で。風邪とか気をつけてください。マリさん。
We were supposed to say goodbye then, but...
話がある。
はい。
けど、電話じゃ言えない。直接会って話す。
This must be what she wanted to continue on from when she paused earlier.
大事な話なんですか？
来週の月曜に一時帰国する。そこしか休みが取れないから。
And the way she's refusing to answer my question only emphasizes that Mari-san's bearing a heavy burden. After all, this is exactly how I've been treating Setsuna.
その日が多分最後のチャンスになる。
どういう意味です？
それも会った時に話すよ。じゃあ。
What an ominous way to leave that off. In the end, and just as she'd said, Mari-san forcibly ended the call without touching on the important thing she wanted to tell me. Dang, if there's one way to give somebody anxiety, it is that. She wanted to tell me something again today, but she only left me with vague responses, and it does leave me feeling a little uneasy. Even so, she did sound exceptionally cheerful today, so if you consider the good and the bad, I'd say it definitely leaned toward the good.
来週の月曜。
that's the day Madison will be coming back. Judging from our conversation, although it's clear that she's only getting a short time off here, she's spending that on me. And that's an important promise to me, given that it's when everything about that vague conversation will finally get cleared up. This coming Monday? At that moment, I turned to the source of that faint, discomforting premonition. And I immediately understood after I noticed the text I received while I was chatting with Mari-san. Because that day is... I mean it this time. About the meeting we talked about earlier this afternoon, I've decided on a time and location. Well, if you don't want it to be that day, if you really can't make it, please let me know beforehand. However, in the event that you have the time, Haruki-kun, I really want to meet you on this day no matter what. I want us to meet on the 14th of February at 5 o'clock in the evening in front of Minami Suetsugu Station. Of course, it's on Setsuna's birthday, and honestly, and I love Setsuna. I know I give her a hard time in this route, but this route Setsuna really bothers me. Come on, she rejected Haruki's times and dates 10 times before this. It is not a big deal for Haruki to just say, hey, sorry, I'm busy that day. Super simple. Super simple. There you go. It's fine. Can you make it? No. Just say no. That day happens to be a commemorative day for Setsuna. Also, that's a lot of pressure because now you're going to meet up on her birthday and be like, hey, I'm sleeping with another woman. Don't do that on her birthday. Oi, what are you doing?
いらっしゃいませ。いつもありがとうございます。
After passing through the underground food street, I went to the shopping mall to stroll for a bit.
覚えてたんですか？
ええ、一度お買い上げいただいたお客様のお顔は絶対に忘れませんから。
That is respectable and unrealistic.
そりゃどうも。
本日は何をお探しですか？また何時間でもお付き合いしますよ。
いや、その。
では、ごゆっくりお選びください。何かありましたらいつでも声をかけてくださいね。
ありがとうございます。
It's February 14th. It's already 3 p.m. and the Valentine's Day sale in this shopping mall is entering its final hours. My ignorance led me to the doorstep of this store once more. I spent 2 whole hours hesitating the last time I came here. I had to think about a present to give her that would not only make her happy, but would also not cause her to get carried away or misunderstand my intention. I'm afraid of widening the gap between the two of us, but I'd also feel guilty if I ended up getting too close to her. Unable to decide, I ended up going in circles. And even though the gap between us is far wider than it was back then, and even though my own guilt has me on the brink of collapse right now, her birthday has inevitably arrived. With the way I am now, I wonder what I should give her as a present? Oi, 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 oi. This guy. I wonder if giving her a present is even the right thing to do in the first place? No, it isn't, actually. And if you were just giving her a present as a friend, you shouldn't be at an expensive jewelry store. The reason I'm hesitating now is because I just don't see an outcome I can look forward to no matter what I choose to do. It's cold today, too. Just as the weather forecast had announced, it's going to be the coldest day of the year. I wonder if I'm stressing that it's cold today, too, because I'm comparing it to another day from years past. I check the time on my phone and learn that it's already a little past 4 p.m. In the end, and with the spoils of my efforts in my pocket after an hour's worth of hesitation, I leave for the train station's ticket gate. However, West Virginia Airlines Flight 206. It's set to land at Narita Airport at 6 p.m. local time. Oh, Haruki. This is bad. This is so bad. What he was doing before, I genuinely don't think it was a moral dilemma. This is turning it into a moral dilemma. So, I'm gonna stop there. Thank you so much for being here on this episode of White Album 2, Mari-san's Route, and I'll be back to you with more soon. Until then, I hope you take care. See you!